that point of the senior management, the senior leadership, actually engaging with the workforce, there should be no reference to whether that workforce is of whichever background, ethnicity, gender. It should be how are they plugged into the work. And then that's where they would come across something like, oh, for the love of God, Lauren, let's get you some proper gloves. You know, these little things, like why is that such a difficult thing? But I agree, they can't do it from an ivory tower, they have to come down.
They do, and they can encourage this at loads of levels. I mean, one of the topics that I was speaking at just recently was I would ask a group of employees, how many people mentor someone else, and even that isn't necessarily the majority of people. So mentoring, very, very important, because mentoring can really create great relationships. So mentoring, the first thing. Second question then is, who and how many people are mentoring someone who is different from themselves? Again, a lot of people like to, I'm generalizing here, but mentor someone who they see themselves as, but as the next generation. So, I kind of go, okay, that's fine. You can mentor more than one person. And then the other topic I like to talk about then is, okay, who sponsors someone? And so often I see people don't understand the difference between mentoring and sponsoring.
I was going to say, let's break those down because they often get merged in a muddy. There's a muddy pool of water there between mentorship and sponsorship.
It does. So mentoring. So my definition of mentoring is learning is if I'm a mentee and someone's a mentor, they are sharing their experiences with me. They are sharing their advice, all based on their own knowledge, experience of the situation that I'm bringing to them, and it's generally having a chat. It's a safe space where I can test ideas, and it could be for career development, learning, sometimes just confidence boosting, to just test that with someone. What do you think? Whereas sponsors take action. Sponsors are people who are in rooms that you are not in. They are probably more senior and they can create opportunities for you. So they will hear about a job or they will hear about an opportunity and they can put your name into the room without you even knowing about it. And that's the difference. So regularly I hear people saying, oh yes, I'm sponsoring this person. Okay, so what have you done? Well, we've had some really good conversations. Right. I'm like, that's mentoring.
That's mentoring, yeah.
If you're not taking action, you're not sponsoring that individual.
Yeah. Okay, that's really good to clear that, because that's a very clear crystal separation. And one of the things that was coming to my mind then, I suppose there's two questions I've got. The first you touched on, we naturally all inherently we're all victims of Cialdini's 6 biases. Authority bias, and like bias is one of them, and it is one of these unconscious biases that we will naturally lean towards. We're genetically wired, unless we are cognizant of it, and most people aren't. And I find it really interesting. You say, well, we naturally gravitate towards mentoring people who we see ourselves in. That's like bias at its purest. It's not people we like; it's people who are like us. So I suppose there's one point there is. And almost, like from, again, I'm thinking from the organisational point of view, I'm thinking of how the business solves this. When establishing these mentoring structures, maybe it's as simple as the mentor and the mentee are not within the same part of the organisation. So there is no, well, when I was an engineer, we did this, and this. It's like, well, actually, when I was, within a young sales guy before I moved up to become there's these layers, and that exposes people to different layers of thinking on both directions as well. I think that should be a bi-directional conversation. And then I think perhaps that sponsorship should come within the direct leadership. But I'm just thinking off the top of my head, those were thoughts that just fluttered in.
Yeah. I mean, I think people should have lots of mentors. I mean, when I say lots, I'm meaning more than one. It doesn't need to be like 20. I definitely like the idea that I've heard quite a lot recently about making sure that you have at least one mentor outside of your organization, because they can help you, with an external lens. I mean, I worked for 6 different companies in 5 years. So I jumped around a lot at the beginning of my career. And through that, you build, relationships, because, it wasn't everybody that was terrible. But it's good to get a perspective that is outside of your immediate organization. Sometimes if you work for a company that's big enough, you can build these relationships with people who can keep that very, I'm going to say, neutral, unbiased view. Someone used to describe it as you create your own boardroom, where you can have different mentors for different purposes, such that, and to be honest, I think I kind of have done that, because there's different people I'll speak to depending on what I need out of the conversation. But sponsors, I have had times where I have been sponsored. I have had times where my sponsors have disappeared. Either they left the company or they changed roles. And you definitely notice the difference. But I think it's something that so many people can do. It doesn't need to be C-suite. It could be immediate line managers. This could be a first level line manager that is having a conversation and can put your name into the ring. It could be someone, oh, they did a really good job here. And I mean, use Yammer or Viva Insights or even LinkedIn to say, praise the person publicly. Yeah. Everybody likes that.
Yeah, and I largely, personally, fall into. I tend to lean I lean towards utilitarianism as a mindset, just on a personal level, because I like, and I've got to the point in my thinking of that there is so much utility in doing good things, and doing nice things, and being a good person. That's regardless of whatever background, wherever else you want to drive, doing right things is actually really good for us, because trust me, when you take the minute to say, look, actually, this person has really kind of done something completely great, and there's no reason, there's no driver for just wanting to shine a light on somebody that's influenced you, that's impacted you, that's done a great job, you can bet your house on it that will be remembered for a very, very, very long time. And if that person is on a stellar path, at some point your paths will meet at some point. So there's a very clear utilitarian purpose of like, okay, just be nice, just do the right thing.